guys, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. On today's live, our topic we're going to cover is the mental shift needed for long-term wellness. Now, this was the second most popular topic, actually nearly on par that you guys voted on last week. So this is the topic we're going to cover. So the question is, what is the mental shift needed for long-term wellness?
Drum roll, please. So the biggest mental shift that is needed when it comes to any wellness is personal responsibility. Now, those of you that know me already will know that I speak about this a lot, right? This is something that I'm super passionate about because it's so important. Before anybody does anything, before they join a gym, before they even go and see a doctor, at any point we must be taking personal responsibility. Everything that comes after that means absolute diddly squat unless you actually have the responsibility kind of framework in mind. So we kind of want to walk you through like what it is, how to be aware of it, how to kind of check in to this blind spot that most people suffer from, and then really kind of take you through a couple of things that you can consider for yourself in order to really experience and have that kind of personal responsibility full on, so you can leave like with this knowing that 100% responsibility is what is going to get you from A to B in the context of optimum long-term wellness. Right? A little bit. No. All right, so
excellent. Yeah, you
yeah,
go.
No,
Okay.
I was talking about blame and.
Oh. There you go.
All right, so but we have kind of two sides of the coin, right? We have personal responsibility and we have blame. I'm going to Google that. This is so cool. So we have personal responsibility and we have blame, right? When we have blame, you tell them about personal responsibility.
Yeah, so Charlotte's gone off on one right now. So we have blame and personal responsibility. So personal responsibility is all about taking responsibility basically for every aspect of your life, everything that happens within it. And basically playing the blame game or the victim culture, those people who will blame everything else around them for why things are not working or why their life's not going the way it is. So blaming someone else for why they're sad, blaming their boss, their work, the weather, the government, whatever the excuse is why things aren't working. It's never their fault, it's always someone else.
The most common thing you see with this in wellness, and just his face made me laugh today. The biggest thing that you hear is like, that gym sucked, right? Or that program was terrible, or that diet didn't work for me, or that person said this, and it's always like external. It's taking away this element of responsibility for yourself. And this is where it becomes so important to raise your level of awareness so that you get to recognise when you're also not taking personal responsibility. Because we're very good at claiming, the kudos and the thumbs up when we are taking responsibility. And, you see all over social media, it's like, I am up at this time doing my workout, and that's not necessarily a bad thing that you're kind of, documenting that journey, because it might help to build some momentum for you. But when you're taking responsibility, it's very easy to sing it from the rooftops, isn't it? So it's really important that we make sure that we are also being aware of when we are in this kind of blame mindset and victim mindset as well.
Awesome, definitely. And when you're looking at personal responsibility, the first aspect of what we can think about is understanding what it takes and learning what's right for you, and especially just ignoring what the masses say that you should be doing or should be thinking. And because just remember, you are unique, you're an individual, so whatever's right for you is not going to be right for someone else. Okay, so listening to the kind of generic information that people tell you, you should do this, you should be doing this, it's never going to work on the mass scale. It's something you've got to just find out for yourself.
The biggest thing that we also see is the fact that when you're looking at all of those external things, you're then not looking at yourself. So as long as you're focusing on what everybody else is doing and what the masses are saying, you're taking that focus off of yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and if we take nutrition as an example, like the biggest kind of conflicting market out there with a lot of generic information that just doesn't work for the majority of people. And a lot of kind of fitness professionals, a lot of fitness people will tell you don't have carbohydrates, they're not good for you, they're bad for you, bad for they're going to make you fat, and all this absolute rubbish that goes around out there. Now, if both of us followed that advice and we said, okay, we're going to cut carbs from our diet, we would have two completely different responses to what would happen. For example, I'm very carb intolerant, well, not carb intolerant, but a little bit sensitive, so it means I can't have too many carbs. Otherwise, I get fatigued quickly, tired, and I just don't function well. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas Charlotte's the opposite. So she does very well on carbs. The more carbs she has, she ends up like she was earlier, kind of like giggling mess.
You didn't have that many carbs today.
Yeah, but it's so if we both cut out carbs, it wouldn't be much of an issue for me because my body does much better on fat. But for Charlotte, she'd probably turn into like a She-Hulk. Get very angry, Charlotte.
Yeah, my body knows what to do with carbs, and I'm grateful for that because I like my carbs. But at the same time, like, it's just knowing what our bodies need. And by the way, just like side note here, we're not recommending anybody cut out carbs.
No, God, no, definitely.
Pretty much ever. Your body needs them, right? In many, many ways. But it's about how your body responds to it, right? And not just carbs, we're talking about everything. How it responds to certain workouts, how it responds to certain ways of thinking. You've got to pay attention because your internal system is giving you the signals. You've got to listen. That's your job, right? That's your responsibility.
Exactly. Listen to yourself, not to some Instagram workout guy.
All right, so guys, let me share with you kind of another key point here, because another thing that is really important to think about and consider when we're thinking about long-term wellness, when we take responsibility, we're also taking responsibility that we are putting our focus in the right places. Because like we said, there's a lot of noise out there, whether it's an Instagram person or a Facebook person, or whether it's just Google, or you're a trainer in the gym, or something you read in the newspaper, whatever. They even have newspapers anymore.
Probably.
Anyways,
So.
like actual paper.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Anyways, so yeah, basically what I'm saying here is we naturally kind of put all of our eggs in one basket, right? We get so sucked into a way of exercising, a way of thinking, a way of eating, and we kind of go down the rabbit hole with one of those things. And it's so important to understand that you've got to incorporate all of these different areas when it comes to the psychology involved as well. This is obviously the basis of why we even created wellness theory, isn't it? But let me share with you a client that I work with. So this guy, amazing guy, he basically been exercising for a long time, so like mid-40s, and he was training regularly. I mean, like 5 times a week, going at it as good as he could be. He had a really good trainer there trying to guide him through his workouts. He wasn't losing the weight that he wanted, and he was overweight. Like, he was definitely classed as like obese on that level. And one of the things that like should have been an alarm bell is the fact that he was trying all these things and no weight was shifting, but yet he didn't really try anything until much later. So we went to see like nutritionist, he went to get his bloods done and see if he was intolerant to anything, and all these different tests, and everything come back fine. So this is when he kind of got referred to me, and he kind of popped up on my radar. We spent a bit of time working together on what his relationship was with his health and his food and his belief system around this, because there was a block internally within him as to how he can progress and how he could actually achieve what it is he wanted to achieve. And when we started to shift through these internal conflicts that he had and really got through and pushed through his belief system, when I say push through, it's more of like a paradigm shift, right? We just changed the way we think about something, but on a much deeper level. And when he did that, guess what? He lost weight. Right? He lost weight. And he did that because his system was then aligned with what it was he actually wanted to do. And then the exercise, the nutrition, all of those things kind of married up and everything worked together, because we are an integrated system. We must all be working together to create this wholeness, or to come back to this wholeness that we actually were born within the first place. Right?
Exactly, and there's so many studies out there to kind of prove the effectiveness of our beliefs based on, again, nutrition, health, our emotions, our thinking, our life, our friendships, our relationships, anything. And there's one kind of study that you may have heard of, may not, but I'm going to tell you, which is the milkshake study. So they got basically a big group of people, which they split into 2 study groups. One was given a was told and given a high calorie, unhealthy, kind of bad milkshake. And the other group was given a low calorie, super healthy milkshake. And they were told to drink this milkshake 3 times a day for 30 days. Now, at the end of this test, at the end of this 30 days, what no one knew, and they were told at the end, that both milkshakes were exactly the same. They were not unhealthy, not healthy. There were no difference at all. Both test groups were given the exact same milkshake, and the results they found were very different. So the group that was told it was a high calorie, unhealthy milkshake, bad for you, actually end up gaining weight, whereas the group who was told it was a healthy, super healthy, low calorie milkshake actually lost weight. So even though they had exactly the same shape, the same calories, the same everything, the only thing that was different was their perception of what they were drinking. And because of that, their body responded to what they were telling themselves. And because they were told that it was healthy and they believed it was healthy and it was going to help them, their body responded in turn and it helped them lose weight. So it just showed that your beliefs around food, it's not the food itself that's causing the majority of people the problem, it's their beliefs attached to that food. Like we said earlier about when people telling everyone to cut out carbs because it's bad for you.
Yeah, and the key here as well is when you perceive something a certain way, is your internal system lines up with that. And if it's able to do that, that means it's capable of pretty much anything, because your mind is so clever, it thinks in pictures and it doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imaginary. And I'm sure you've heard that before. But obviously, I'm not saying you can go and eat like crappy foods for 24 hours a day for the foreseeable future, because that will take its toll. There still needs to be some quality nutrition and quality thoughts around that. But same goes with exercise and how much we move. If you feel like you're getting the best workout and you really feel the way your breathing improves and you feel your heart rate improve just from going on a brisk walk, and it reduces your stress, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel all of those things, right? Because you're feeding your mind with these ideas and these pictures, and your body is responding to the pictures, not necessarily from like whatever it's kind of receiving from random external things. So this is where the personal responsibility comes in, for you to actually take back that control of what you're consuming and what you're buying into. There was a similar study actually done as well at Harvard. It was around the same time, I believe, with morphine, right, or pain relief. Not sure if it's specifically morphine, but it was with pain relief. And there was two people, both had like very similar procedures, and they had they both had like kind of severe, like same kind of pain levels as well. They gave one of them like nothing, just like clear saline, like literally nothing in it whatsoever, and they gave the other one like a heavy dose of morphine, and they both showed a drop in their pain just because they thought they was having the medicine to reduce pain. How does that happen if your mind isn't the thing that is in control of your system? So if you're going through something at the moment and you're experiencing some pain, right, or you're experiencing a bit of a, let's say, a dodgy or a love-hate relationship with your food or your health or your wellness or your way of thinking, any of these things, line yourself up against your own standards, right? Because that's like the second point that we really want to make here around personal responsibility. Because when you set your own standards for yourself, you get to live up to them, right? Because if you don't set your own standards, you're living by somebody else's, right? You're either living by somebody else's, again, of friends, family, or society, whatever that may be, or you're living against and judging yourself against the illusion of your own standard that you haven't really thought about. And what I mean by that is when we judge ourselves for not doing something, right? Oh, I didn't go to the gym today, or I didn't eat very well today. You really judge yourself and give yourself a hard time. But if you'd actually set yourself a standard of balance or a standard of achieving something specific, right, and you actually understood what those kind of parameters were for yourself, then you'd be able to meet them and maybe even exceed them.
Yeah, definitely. And the question you want to ask yourself is, what are your expectations? What do you expect of yourself? Because if you can't answer that question, that's a big problem in itself, because you're not going to know where you're going, or even kind of how you're progressing and how you, if you're improving or not, if you're getting to where you want to be. So one thing that we like to do, or we do currently, is we do set points. So we do individual and couple set points. So this means it's something that in every area of our life, that is something that we set and we make sure is done. There's something we can look back on and then look, okay, have we done this? If not, why? What's happened? And if we keep missing these, you notice the difference in your quality of your quality of your focus, your life, your balance, your emotions, everything. So, for example, like one of my set points for friendships is just to communicate or just reach out and message someone from the UK, like an old friend I maybe haven't spoken to for a while, on a weekly basis, just to touch base. Or for example, in terms of skills or creativity, I'm in the process of learning how to play the guitar. So my set point is to
just put a thumbs up in the comments if you'd like to see him live playing the guitar.
Not yet, not that stage yet.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'm still learning at the moment.
If there's at least one thumbs up, it's gonna happen.
No, definitely not. I'm still learning, but that's the thing. As long as I once a week, as a minimum, that I pick up the guitar, play, and learn something, I am meeting my set point. And as a couple, we also have set points. Whereas in terms of community, like giving back to the community, we volunteer at a local animal shelter. So it's to give back, to do something for others, or in this case, nice furry little animals. So, and that's the thing, you just set those points in every area of life, not just like exercise and nutrition. It's not all about just that. There's many areas to consider.
Definitely. I mean, you can go all in on your exercise and nutrition, and we do talk about it a lot, really, because obviously that's very much our background, very much like John's biggest passion as well. And is something that we tend to do is neglect the other areas of our life. And actually, if you go all in on just like exercise and nutrition, and you neglect friendships and community and that connection and that kind of growth and that downtime for yourself as well, to really be able to listen and do those things that we've said for yourself, then you're not going to have this optimum level of wellness. You've got to think about all of those aspects, like from a holistic perspective, not just from a let's go down this rabbit hole today. That doesn't make any sense, because we don't function that way. All right, so the last kind of point really here is I want you to ask yourself, and this is literally a task for you guys watching, so take this on and have a go, and just really sit down and ask yourself, grab a pen and a piece of paper, old school, and just write and reflect upon what needs to happen for you to take full responsibility for your optimum wellness. And what does that look like in the context of standards and expectations? Because if you have that, then you get to exceed your own expectations and go even further than you thought you ever possibly could.
Definitely. Awesome. So that is our topic. I hope you learned a lot from that today, took away a lot. And just basically let us know if there's anything else that you would like us to discuss. If you've got anything in your mind that you think, oh, I'd really like to know a bit more about that, or discuss this in more detail, please obviously drop us a message. Just let us know topics that you're interested in, so we can potentially do for future lives. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us. I hope you've had as much fun listening to as we had talking to you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next live. So, bye.
See you soon. Laters.